I know you do. You like
You give me
watching
an adrenaline
yourself.
rush every time.
You love watching yourself.
Because who knows what'll happen when you go live? It's like the year 2000.
I mean, you're live, dude.
We're live now.
TJ's only half live. You got to move over, bro.
Yeah, it's really weird when there's like 3. It's so different compared to Zoom when there's 3 compared to 2 and 4.
Yeah.
Those are all numbers and stuff. So, hey, what's going on, gang? Today's your birthday, Tony?
No.
Oh, shit. When's your birthday?
Next year.
All right, so we'll make sure we mark that down, guys. Mark it down. Next year's Tony's birthday. And we're going to have a big show on that day. Like, I don't keep care if it's a Thursday. We're just going to go live. And
we can do it.
So we're talking today about, efficiency and motion. So that's something I've always kind of used, but like just, the processes. I've got kind of a startup team that I'm building off to the, in addition to what I have going, and it's kind of brought me back to that. That's one big thing I'm trying to preach and teach is having that, up to this point, when you're learning it, I've always just kind of said, outbound calls makes up for, the little things, the lingo, the efficiencies that you don't have yet as you develop. And so, once you're past that point and you're getting, farther in and digging deeper, I mean, your day has to be structured out and what you do and how you do it. So I think a lot of you know how important that is. Tony, talk to us a little bit from a shipper standpoint, how important that is.
How important what is now?
The title of the show.
Honestly, here's my thought. It's really difficult for most people to do, and it's especially difficult when you're busy, which we all are. But the key for me is being intentional. A lot of times we just do to survive. We're treading water and we're 5 feet from shore. All we got to do is stand up and walk, and we're not going to drown. But we sit there and we tread water because that's what we do. That's what we know. That's what we know how to do to survive. When you start becoming intentional and taking steps that are on purpose and with a purpose, you stop just treading water and you start getting somewhere. I was at a place one time where we had volume X and we needed to get to volume X plus 30%. Well, you can't just go buy a truck. You got to lease them and you got to order them. So we had to get to volume X plus 30%. What do you need to get there? Here's the list of equipment. You place the order. It's a 6-month lead time. A month into that, they're like, all right, you need to get to X plus 50%. And then it's X plus 70%. And you're performing almost at or near that level in spite of the lack of equipment. And it's not good enough. And you have to step back and say, well, we don't even have the equipment to get to X plus 30. And we're performing at X plus 30 already. Guys are just working overtime. And that what happens in that situation is everybody gets burned out. They start treading water and they start being unintentional. If you're a shipper where your KPIs are like on-time delivery, stuff like that, it sinks because you're just doing stuff that's there, stuff that's easy instead of stuff that's on purpose and intentional. So when you grow and you get to that point, you have to have a plan. You have to have the equipment set up. You have to have the plan in place for growth, for treading water. You have to get to that next level, and somebody has to listen. You have to convince somebody that you need the tools that you need to get to where you need to be. From my point of view, on the shipper side, it's been an issue everywhere I've ever worked. The factory grows. They put new addition on the building. They put new machines in there, add more manpower. The shipping department never grows. You never get more forklifts. You never get more drivers. You never get more trucks. You hire it out. That's the key for me.
Yeah, right, dude. What up, Hool?
Every time.
Hey, is like 105 degree, ronificated. He's sitting there hibernating in the apartment.
Listen, I questioned.
I'm so stoked. I'm like, I'm running like 102 fever. My boy, I haven't spoke to him. Ryan, right here, stud. He pops in, dude. Why don't you call me, Ryan? Anyways, go on. No, I think you're right though about the planning thing. I think it's like from a sales standpoint, I don't think most people, I don't think plan, right? You don't like think about, like, you talk about growth, right? Like what I did when I first started in my sales career, what I did when I first started into my sales career is obviously different. And I'm not talking about like skill level, but I had to learn how to manage my time and, and still produce. Right. So I think a lot of times you see people, they're like, well, I'm just good. I'm just great at sales. I mean, I think that's bullshit, right? I mean, you have to have a detailed roadmap to get to where you're going from a sales standpoint. And I think a lot of people don't even have that. And again, your roadmap could be different. It's all situational, but again, having a roadmap is crucial.
I like what you said, Tony, too, about just being intentional. I like that too. I mean, that's a key thing. I mean, coming in, having an intention, like I'm intending to do, certain things at certain times and doing them a certain way. It helps kind of guide your path. I mean, for the longest time, I would come in and just, once I got the confidence to know I could, handle it or whatever, it almost kind of hurt me a little bit, because I would just come in and be like, hey, I'm just going to come in and just take each day, as it comes, and just take things on as they come. And it doesn't work. It's just, you're very unorganized, and you don't have a path to success and a strategy and a plan and an organization, because when things go down, if you've got that foundation, I think it makes it that much easier. And it also helps you avoid those situations rather than just welcoming them, on. So I think that's key. But no, I would Mike, though. I mean, Mike, for the longest time, I don't know. I questioned. I thought, man, guy's probably a wimp. You know what I mean? But dude's got like 110-degree fever, and I even questioned if he was from the Midwest. But I think he solidified all that today.
It's the IV off screen that you can't see.
Yeah. Anyways, but no, when you talked about like taking on, like, I think if having a general plan or a game plan, like, again, like I look at these things like silly, but like I have like 3 different things: ASAP, so it's like must do, tomorrow, or later, right? So the ASAP things is like, I always, like, before my days ended, I always make sure, if I look at my list and it's like, okay, the stuff that I needed to do, did I get everything done, right? And if I didn't, I put it on the list for tomorrow on need to get done, and that's what I always follow. But I think, like, even just having a little game plan like that just allows you to pivot a lot easier when things come your way, right? Because you always have some type of game plan, and it's like anything, right? I mean, a lot of people they say they don't use scripts, they don't have like even a general, like, again, game plan when they're even going into each. You talk about intention, like, it's like not even having like you go into first meeting, what's your goal of that first meeting, right? You go into a second meeting, what's your goal of that second meeting? What is your goal? And it's like, I like to always have something, right? I like to have a game plan. Doesn't mean I can't switch from it, right? But yep. I like it in front of me. I like to have a script in front of me. I've been doing it for 8 years. I know the script like the back of my hand, but I always like to have something in front of me, knowing where I can go. And it allows me to, again, pivot when things, like, again, something gets tossed at me. It's right in front of me. I know how to get back to it. So I just always, like, maybe it's because I was ADD. I always had to be so structured, and that was on myself to be structured, or I would just be all over the map.
I said that the other day, Mike. That's so funny you said that. I said, I was talking to one of my newer people, and I was like, I think what makes me so good at putting together, operational structures and like efficiencies and things is because of how I, just growing up ADD, I had to have that. Like, if I didn't, I just didn't get it done. I mean, I had to. There's some little things, like my desk has to be, pretty clutter free, or my brain gets cluttered too. It's really weird how it all plays out. But I mean, that's the key. You also said, I mean, having that structure, but being able to change it, right? If you have to, being able to adapt. I've always, I mentioned that even in the post, but like, you got to be able to have yourself laid out but you take different avenues. Every sales meeting I go to, if I'm meeting with a customer, if I'm sitting down, whether it's prospective or existing, I've got about 4 different ways in which the conversation could go, right? I'm prepping for what we've talked about, what I'm expecting on the itinerary, but I've got like 3 other things that laid out just in case it ends up going a different direction. And I don't know, I have to have that to feel comfortable. A lot of times, like what Mike said, I don't end up using it, but just having it, I think, keeps you where you need to be mindset wise.
I'm with you. I can totally see, people that know me well know this. You can totally see my mental state if you look at my desk. If my desk is cluttered and a mess, please don't come talk to me. Please don't come in with your complaints and problems. I am trying to organize my world.
It's true.
I have sticky notes everywhere. I say this all the time. There is a book I spout, I preach it, and I need to return it. Joe Eads, genius, should have been a high school science teacher. He had a whiteboard and crazy stuff going on everywhere all the time. Anybody that knows him well. He's awesome. And if you ever do get to know him, get to know him. This guy is like the mad scientist, crazy hair, and he's got 14 pages of stuff going on at any given point, but brilliant. He gave me this book to read called The Checklist Manifesto, and I swear by it because you get a sense of accomplishment. You get your thoughts organized. You'll be able to take notes next to stuff, and you start crossing stuff off. There's this amazing clarity when you start writing stuff down. It's way deeper than that, and it's a great book, but go read it.
Yeah. No, I think it's key, like you said. I mean, just your overall mindset and like where you're at. I know if I'm cluttered that way, but it plays into everything though, you know, and like I said, I was talking to the newer person and she took on an account that's got a ton of potential, but it's tough. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of ins and outs. You're communicating with multiple people at all times between deliveries and pickups, and the volume's high. And, you know, she's kind of struggling. And I just said, you know, the biggest thing you got to remember in this industry is like, those are the accounts that make the money. Like, you know, when you do the hard stuff, the hard accounts, there's people that just don't make it because they don't want to, or they don't try. But if you could take this and make it efficient, I've had some accounts that were just crazy weird and so some of them even old school where it was like just super inefficient. But like I made my own organization around it, like my own base, my own structure in which I was able to make things so efficient for myself that I was able to do it. Yes, Brandon Bay's the same way. He's out sick today, but he made, you know, when he really grew up through his career and when he was making his, you know, biggest bonus checks he was one that he went and worked accounts that nobody else wanted to work, the hardest ones, you know, the ones with the most restrictions, the ones with the most requirements and things. And so those are just, you could shy away from those because it takes a lot, or you can dive in and make, you know, take a month or two to really just dive in on it and make it your own and make it efficient for you. And then
I think we got to hit on a point though, like, because I think there's a fine line between hard and just not worth it, right? Like to me, hard is okay. Somebody's open-minded to what I'm offering and sees value in what I'm offering, but it's going to take some time, right? And or you flip side it and you look at someone that just doesn't see what I'm going, you know, what I'm offering, and I'm just pushing a square peg through a round hole, and I'm letting my ego get into the way, telling myself, oh, I got this, because I've done both, right? Where it's like I've subconsciously like had my ego say, oh, you can push this in. You're going to be the one who sells this. You're going to be the one who sells this. And I was reading this, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think that especially when you're new, you gotta read. The sooner you can figure that out, the sooner that you don't waste your time. Because I think more times than not, I've seen reps, especially myself when I first started, going after accounts that were just no's in the beginning, right? They didn't really want, they didn't care, they didn't value what I was bringing to the table, and I just didn't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, surrounding yourself with the right people. I mean, this was one, like you said, we're already far enough into the process, and I already know the account well enough to know that it is worth it. But I think that's a great point because, you know, when I say, you know, give it a month or two to really dig in and give it your all, a lot of that is just to find that out too. You know, no matter what it is. I mean, I remember having a job that when I first started a long time ago, it wasn't in logistics, but I don't know if I wasn't giving all the effort or what it was, but I talked to my boss who at that time, and he was the owner, and he was like, you know, one of my mentors, probably the one that mentored me the best when I was younger. And I told him I was going to look for a second job. I just needed to, you know, I had a kid on the way and stuff. And he's like, take a month and just give me 100%. Like, do you feel as though you're giving 100% right now? And I'm like, I don't know. If you have to question it, then you may not be. It's like, I'm not saying that's bad or anything. I'm just saying, take 1 month, give me everything you got. Give me a shot at everything you got. And I ended up killing it that month because I was just totally bought in. I'm like, okay, I got 1 month to just feel it out and actually give more effort. So that's why I think that's important though to do though, because sometimes you don't want to vet it too early and miss a chance because your initial reaction is that it's going to be too difficult to not work. And so I think you're always kind of feeling it out, being assertive, and letting them know what you're doing and how you're doing it. And if it's not going to work, you can tell by about a month in usually.
I liked Nick Romer. I never get his name right.
Rumor has it.
Always. I liked his comment. Never rely on the skill set. That's like I tell people all the time when we're training people, that tribal knowledge is great, but what happens if that guy gets hit by a truck tonight? You never know. I mean, the dude just may have a heart attack and keel off, but create a process that anybody can follow. You ought to have it so well detailed that TJ could walk up and follow this direction and get this truck loaded the way it's supposed to be loaded. So easy. A caveman can do it. I came from an ISO certified place, so you're lacking the hair for a caveman, but seriously, it should be where anybody can go and do it.
Dude, I gotta go, man. I feel so shitty.
Don't die on us, man.
I'm gonna let you guys stay on this, but like I'm down. Love you.
All right, I got high hopes for you. Go get your test. COVID test.
Third one.
Rona. It's got to be the Rona.
I had Corona. I remember my first time getting the Rona.
It's not bad.
Oh, I didn't even lose
Yeah,
taste or smell.
asthma.
I didn't lose taste or smell or anything.
I had a sinus infection is what it felt like. Not even that. It wasn't even that bad, but a little achiness like when you get the flu, but it wasn't major. It was maybe like 1/3 of the way the flu feels to me. But when I lost my sense of taste and smell, that's when it hit. And man, it was like first of the year, and I still can't smell and taste correctly. Everything's still messed up, but there's still a burnt plastic smell all the time. It's gross.
Hey, Trey Griggs. Trey Griggs is going to join us.
Awesome. Jump in.
You need Trey and Nick. We need Rumor on here too.
Rumor has it he was going to be around anyways.
Rumors are remember Rumors are fifth wheel.
That's right.
We're like a
That's a
Jeep,
hitch.
and he's like the spare tire. He's like on the back of us as we're driving. He's always there, but he looks better, right? He looks better than all the other wheels.
Does it say it's a Jeep thing with the A thing? Jeep thing?
Jeep thing?
You wouldn't
I don't know.
understand.
I like I want to get one of those Jeep the Jeep pickup trucks. Those look pretty cool. But I wouldn't actually get it, but
Those are hideous, man. They'd have to pay me to drive that thing. Get a Jeep, get a truck, don't get a truck.
the Jeep pickup trucks?
Yes. That's just my opinion. I don't care. My opinion doesn't matter. I'm driving shit. You don't want to know what I'm driving. Jalopy. I drive cheap, paid for crap.
That's because you're irresponsible, Tony. It's true.
Envied by none.
Exactly. And you fly under the radar too.
That's the goal.
Nobody thinks they're like, oh, that's definitely not a top 5 shipper in Northern Indiana.
I knew this really smart guy one time, and we had him on the show, and I asked him what was the objective of this business that we were in together that I was working for him, and he said, "It's to stay out of the news, bud, to stay out of the news."
Yep.
So I learned a lot. You got to fly under the radar.
So we got Trey and Nick coming on. So Brandon was already out sick. And I mean, Mike's been texting us all day saying he was feeling like shit, but he just kept going. If I committed something, I committed to it. I'm going to do it. I'm thinking, oh God,
He's plowing through it. I don't know if he remembers any of that, but
this is going to be bad. But
poor guy.
well, I had an email going with him today, and he's like, "Hey, sorry for late email." He's like, "I got 102-degree fever. I feel terrible." And oh wait, Mike probably has to let him in, doesn't he?
I don't know.
But he's like, "But I had to build like 36 loads today because nobody do it, but I still did it." I'm like, "Oh, geez, all right."
What I tell him earlier, he had to hire an assistant.
So I got to get here. Let me get with Mike here. Did he? He's backstage. Trey's backstage. Can we let him in? How do we do that? Bear with us, gang. Bear with us.
It's live, bro. We need to be
Tony does this. Tony used to be a newscaster, so he's used to 6 and 11. So for him, this is nothing.
That's right.
I'm texting him now. I don't think I have access to it.
I'm pretty sure he's dead. He's in a comatose state.
Who is?
Nemi.
Did he already bail? Or is he out?
No idea.
But no, I think as you look at what we were talking about, I think right now it's just so key because it's something that's on a lot of people's minds. It's not just brokers or shippers or anything. It just the freight's so high volume right now. Everything's kind of crazy, and people really want to take advantage of it, right? They want to do well. They want everything to go, but like, there's a lot of people right now that are jumping in to stuff that they're going to get themselves in trouble with, or they're just not going to be able to handle because of just how high the volume is and the stress and the need for so much stuff right now. That it's been on my mind. I think it's so key to having that structure. But I think if you approach it correctly, so Tony, when you look at like what kind of flow do you have? Is it just me now? Did I lose Tony too? I think I lost Tony. What's going on, gang? Just TJ Knutson in here. Hold my beer. Thanks everybody for joining me this week. Used to having some people to bounce some stuff off of, but hey, we're gonna make this work. Where was I going with that? Oh, I was gonna ask Tony a question. But no, I really think until Tony gets back here, for me, I think that was like maybe the biggest step in my career was not only just the organization and the structure of everything, but the actual, I think it led me to delegate more. Once I learned to delegate it or just allow, it's not even delegating sometimes, it's just allowing others to help even. I wasn't doing, I wasn't doing, all the little things right or doing the little things at all. And once I learned to get people to help and everything, it made everything easier. But yeah. Question and answer time. Trey said Q&A time. What kind of questions we got out there? Throw them at me here. Oops. Nothing. Way to set that up, Trey. Appreciate it. Now we got no questions and I'm in silence. When and where was your first kiss? This is the back of a 53-foot dry van, just north of the toll road. Pulled over to slide the tandems, and there she was. Yeah, that was a good night. Had to get the tires retreaded next day. So there's that answer. That was 1978 too, by the way. Starbucks, I hate Starbucks. It's terrible. It's burnt. Dunkin' Donuts has better coffee, so put that out there if you want. Oh shit! Now Tony's out. He can't get back in because Mike can't answer or is not answering. Damn it, Mike name. I wonder if he can still hear us. Oh, he's in his car. Tony is out too. Let me figure this out. Wow, this went downhill quick. See what COVID does to you? Does all this. How do I let him in? Pool or pond? Pond for sure. Pond. I pond because I can fish, and there's no chlorine. If you can't tell, I'm Scandinavian. I have fairly sensitive skin, so I don't like that. But yeah, bucket list. God, that's a good question. I was just thinking about this the other day. Bucket list, and Nick rumored like this, but I want to golf in Ireland. I want to golf in Ireland. I want to. What was the one the other day? Oh, I want to go to Alaska. I want to salmon fish there. I want to go on an elk hunt in Wyoming. And What was the other one? Oh, and I want to land Bell Jar. If you're out there, or Ball Jar, sorry, Ball Jar. If you're out there, Ball Corp. So I went to Ball State University, proud alum, and the guys that started the Ball Jars, whatever from there, the Ball brothers, and now it's Ball Corp. I've chased it down multiple ways. I've got a couple tips on it, but that's like my great white buffalo there. I've landed some big accounts, but I'm going after that one. So if you're listening and you work for Ball Corp, I'm a great guy, about 5'11" and a half. Just a Christian man trying to raise children. So if you've got free, help me out. Are you bald or do you bick it? I actually have hair. I have blonde hair, like pure blonde hair. I don't know if you can tell or not. So that's a 2-guard. It's a little thinner on the top. So like the light shines through it, makes it look bald. Like if you were to rub my head, it's all hair. But I do 2-guard it all the way down. So yes, it does. It looks bald. Gopher or Carl? Carl's my boy in Caddyshack. The Ball logo's on Dr. Pepper cans. Yep. They also started making aluminum solo cups, which is pretty cool looking. They do aerospace stuff. I mean, they do like a lot of cool stuff. Greatest sports team in my lifetime. I mean, I grew up watching the Bulls. Sports team. I mean, sports team that I've liked. Yeah, I followed the Bulls. I mean, I watched the Cowboys back in the day. I know I'm a Bears fan, but they were terrible. So I lost Tony there. Hang on a second. We got 1988. Tony Darnell, yeah, at Notre Dame. Yeah, that was my lifetime. Yeah. Tim Brown won the Heisman in 87. That's huge. Hey, TJ, stop building a load to feed you a question. Look at Rick Garza. What was the largest error you made in logistics? What was the dollar amount lost, and how did you overcome it? Okay. Largest mistake I've made in logistics. I'll tell you right now what it was. I brokered a load I shouldn't have. Back in the day, I was hungry, going after whatever I could. And I had to come clean. The lady was not very nice at all. I didn't know how to handle it at first, but it was a big learning experience. Matter of fact, me and her are still friends. She's not with the company anymore, but I just was straight up with her, just told her, that it was a mistake I made, and I was getting overzealous. I was fairly new, and I thought I could do it, and she was better than me. She got me red-handed. So I think you run into that. I think everybody's kind of run into that a little bit. But yeah, that's what I did. Biggest loss I've ever taken. Huh. Oh man. 16K. If you want to consider that. Yeah. Basically we had an expedite shipment for an automotive company. There's 2 pallets coming across Minnesota. We were going to shut the plant down. You shut a plant down. That particular plant's about $48,000 an hour that you get charged. So I had to charter a plane to pick those 2 pallets up. It cost me about 17K and get it done. That sucked. That was bad. That cost me about 2 months of bonus checks. Easy answer. Wait, okay, who's next? Filet mignon or New York strip? Strip. I don't like my steak too thick. Greatest Indiana sports film: Hoosiers, Rudy, or something else. Rudy's great. Rudy's solid. League of Their Own's good. I mean, that was based at Fort Wayne where I grew up. That team actually. But Rudy for sure gives you tingles. I don't care if you're a fan or not. Let's see. I can't let anybody in. Mike Nemi got in his car and said he went to go get medicine or whatever. So we can't let anybody in. I don't know how Tony got out. It's like 3 people in the waiting room, but can't get in. How much money did I lose in Vegas last month at the Lean Solutions Group Mastermind event? I don't talk about it. Socks first or pants first? Now, see, that's a great question. Listen, I need everybody on LinkedIn and YouTube to understand this. This goes right into our topic, too. You got to be able to adapt. You can't lock yourself into socks first or pants first. Because I'm sorry, but if I'm going pants first usually, right? But I know for a fact that if I've got sweaty feet at that point in time, it's hot out, I better, or I got the shower or whatever, I better throw socks on first before I put my pants on, or you're going to get some bumps in the road, right? It's not going to be as smooth throwing them on. So you got to be smart. You got to be able to adapt. I think that's what it is. You don't have to pick one or the other. How much did the watch set me back? Trey, quit getting personal with things, man, and money. I don't know. My wife bought it for me. TJ, you walk into a bathroom and there are 3 open urinals. Which one do you take? One of the outside ones, for sure. Unwritten rule. Never take the middle. Unless I'm messing with somebody, then I like to be funny. Tony, you're wrong on the sock thing. Perfect. Jason just says fire. Not sure what that means. TJ, did you pick out that pullover or did your wife? No. In all honesty, my wife actually did get this for me. Not usually a red. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's got like the light makes it kind of almost look pink, but it's like a highlighter orangish red. It just fits well. Yeah, it's a highlighted peach. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. I think that's a good way. And Nick says that's why you always take the middle one. Trey Griggs, where's my handle shirt? I told you every time you ask me, I'm pushing it back a month. So you got it there. My buddy got us kicked out of a casino in GPT of a bathroom, and a casino says closed, and it's closed. I have gone in a closed bathroom. Gone to the bathroom. I've gone in the women's room before if needed. I evaluate where I'm at, sense of urgency wise. If I got to go so bad that I don't care if I get arrested, which has happened before, I'll do it. German or American made? I'm assuming he's talking cars. I had an Audi at one point. It was a 2006 A6. I bought for like $3,000, and it drove like a champ. It was like glued to the road. But again, it had a ton of miles on it, so it didn't last long. And they're a lot more expensive to get worked on. So I'm a GM guy. Everything GM. How many months are we pushing this back? Okay. He says years. Just got a beer that reminded me of TJ Southern Cousins. Are there? So I'm seeing all of them that come in here. I can't believe Nimi bailed. German engineer pen is on his desk. All right. Let's throw out some. Trey, I like your idea. The questions. Throw out some like logistics-based questions. What truck brand is your preference? Pete, Freighter, International, Kenworth. Kenworth for sure. I love Kenworths. I don't know. There's something about them. My neighbors growing up had we lived in the country, and they had this huge, long pole barn. They used to park. It was a husband-wife team, and they had a huge Kenworth, man. It had like, you walked in like between the seats right to go to the back to the sleeper, and it had like the fridge and everything there. And then there's like a step down to like where there was a shower and bathroom. It was one of those big long ones. TJ, how did it feel to finish second in the Lean Solutions golf outing? Oh, it didn't feel bad at all because I knew you stacked your team, Trey. Like a women's golfer, college golfer, like 3 other people. I mean, that's not too hard at all. So it felt actually really good. What's the future of trucking? EV, self-driving, hydrogen? I think the future of trucking is it's just gonna. I think it's just gonna go more segmented. I think it's just gonna go to segment. I mean, I think the electric or the say if there's the self-driving vehicles, I think they're going to be more for the milk runs, the shorter stuff, the delivering from a DC, maybe even. They're always going to have the over-the-road stuff. I think electric's going to. I don't know. I think it's just going to get more segmented with what we have. I think that's how you started, anyways. I was one of those other people who isn't a golfer. Tony. Oh, well, Tony, the way their team was lined up, you didn't have to do much, but I heard you did all right. How will drones impact final mile, and how long will it take to really make an impact? I don't believe in the drone thing. I don't think it works. It's not going to work. I don't. I'm from Indiana. There's too many people I know that sit on their porch with a shotgun, and there's too many people that are idiots, and there's too many people that would act like a drone hit them for insurance money or something. I don't know. Tell us about paid overnight truck parking. God. Well, there's this one guy I know that he's a truck driver, and he's got a great resume though. Don't ever doubt his resume, but he's really big on truck parking. I know Anthony's got it right, trying to find that for people. I think it's part of the job. At the end of the day, I'd like to see it better, but as an owner operator, I think it's part of the job. I think there's a lot of things that are part of the job for owner operators and dispatchers that they don't do, that they should do. I think finding a place to park ahead of time and pre-planning for that's one of them. If your driver doesn't have the time to do it or the bandwidth, depending on what you're asking him to do, then you need to do it yourself as a dispatcher. I think that's key. Will technology continue to be fragmented in transportation, or will TMS platforms that have all the tools win out? Yeah, I think it's all going to end up going TMS. There's no way around it. I think as new stuff goes out or comes into the industry, which you see more and more, you're going to see it come in as this, and this, but then you're going to see it all kind of get combined. I mean, when peanut butter and jelly first came out, you bought peanut butter in a jar and jelly in a jar, and now you can buy them both in the same jar. So I think that pretty much explains it. I physically called in a pickup several states always today. That doesn't make sense, Tony. Will Biden impact the freight industry positively or negatively with the new rules? Biden's not going to do anything. So I'm not going to get political, but I don't think the guy can really necessarily do anything. Now, will his administration do something? I don't know. I don't want to get into it. You don't want to hear what I have to say. Well, you might want to hear, but others won't. TJ, best 80s ballad, song or band. Best 80s ballad is Home Sweet Home by, it's not Guns N' Roses, is it? Is Home Sweet Home Guns N' Roses? I would like to help with anything that helps organizations, shippers, and truckers work together better so people, okay. Motley Crue, that's right. Wow, I was thinking Guns N' Roses. Yeah, Motley Crue. Home Sweet Home, for sure. Never really heard the song much until I watched Hot Tub Time Machine. And the guy, what's his name, pulls into the garage, and he's blasting that song, and he's got that bottle of peppermint schnapps, and he's like hitting the keyboard on the dash, and then he closes the door and locks himself in there and goes to the hospital because his car is still on. That's a good one. Great movie. I guess I'm right. I'm riding solo tonight, guys. So, hey, we talked a little bit about the whole point of the show is to sit around and bounce ideas off each other. So I'm not going to bore you guys too much unless we've got winter weather an issue. You mean like last week, Tony? Or, yeah, that's like speed dating one way. I like that, Nick. I wonder how many people are just listening to this because they don't really even care about freight, but they like this better. Oh, planning ahead for winter. Yeah, I was just talking about that today. I had a lot of people that had loads that were tough to cover, and they were like, "Oh, these were loads that I bid before the storm, like before we knew the storm was coming." And so I told them they weren't wrong, but if you're relying on most people when they rely on it for a storm, they rely on basically like they start hearing people talk about it, right? They hear it on the news or something. That's usually about 3 days out. So if you're bidding freight, it's your responsibility to know probably 5, 6, 7 days out. There's ways to do it, but you got to be proactive. You can't wait to hear it from somebody or hear the buzz, going on about, oh, did you hear about this? And to be able to bid correctly. AirPods. I've never tried the AirPods Pro. I've never tried the Beats. Although I do like I like the big headphone, the Beats by Dre, the big ones, but AirPods for sure. Yeah, winter seems to, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just goes to show how many unprepared people are in this industry and how many new people are in this industry. As everything is scaled, it's just a model that people have. The training's gone down. You're able to get through because of technology. You're able to get through with just throwing people at the wall, throwing them right into seats and just hoping they stick. And it's just a problem you're always going to have if that's what the model is. So, I think, training, working with people to get out ahead of things takes experience, I think, but at the same time, it just kind of takes caring, wanting to take ownership of your freight. Whether you're a broker or a carrier, communication, which a lot of people don't want to put that effort into. In-house or external training programs. That's a great point. In-house or external training programs. I'd say I think you got to have both, because I think with how much there actually is to train on in this industry, it's hard. There's just so much. There's way too much. I've always used a mixture of everything. I like to live train in the middle of situations as things are going on or after they're going on. Somebody gets knocked down during the day on something, I call them that night and we just go through it, just talk about it. But I think you got to have in-house training, especially when it comes to, your TMS, your system, how things work, your culture, all that stuff. The outside training, I think, is something that you got to provide, that you can make mandatory, but it's just something to provide to people to give them more resources. I think you're always trying to provide them more resources, but training is key. But you got to be able to just go out there and get knocked down every once in a while. Put yourself out there. That's how you learn the crazy stuff, how to handle things. What is the onboarding process for a new employee? Do you train to a culture and process, or just processes? Culture and process, for sure. And a lot of it is, my biggest thing for me, if I'm going to live train, we have our own training. Like when you first come in, like I said, on the TMS, the structure and everything like that. The culture I instill in you right away. You're going to know pretty out there about that. A lot of people say, one of my newer people just the other day was like, yeah, I saw my buddies and I've known him for a while. He's like, they said, I was working for TJ, and he's like, I'd run through a wall for him. And I'm not trying to brag or make that a compliment. I guess it's more of just like, that's the intensity that I try to bring, right? That's just like a thing that, like, if I'm that fired up, everybody else will be that fired up. And it's a key component, but I think it needs done at the right times. The processes you got to put in place, that I already try to have processes in place when they come in and lay it out so that they understand it and they can see that it's working, because that way I can just plug people in and go. But I don't like to have it so restrictive that if they want to flourish, they can't. I think having that culture, I think, is key. Like I said, my main thing when I bring people in is to build their confidence and just make things seem realistic. You just get a lot of new people in the industry that are smart even, and they're just like, I've never felt so dumb. There's so much going on and how to do this, and you just always are trying to relate things back to, like, you are not, that's how it goes. Like, that's just part of it. You teach them how to funnel, how to take all this information that you've got and how to filter it down to what's really important, prioritizing, just things like that as you work, as you go. But, if you get them to buy in, I think that's the key. Yeah. Yeah. If you first start working on their confidence, I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of what you're going to learn and a lot of what you can do is just doing it. A lot of new people in the industry will the first thing they want to do is everything that pops up. TJ, did you see that email? What do I say to it? TJ, did you see that? Did you see that? And it's like, sometimes I'll even just ignore them for a minute, act like I'm busy, because I know I can filter out those situations and know whether they need help or not. But it's something that they just got to be able to do. Tony said it earlier, being intentional, I think, is key. It's part of the culture. It needs to be part of the training. Clearly define expectations and a way to measure oneself against them. That's the biggest thing. I'm constantly putting out numbers. They know what they need to try to achieve, what they want to go for. I'm big on monthly game plans. So sitting down, talking about, what we want to do for that month, what our goals are. And then at the end of the month, sitting down and looking at whether we got them or not. If we didn't, then we change the game plan, put a new one in, whatever we got to do. But it makes them feel like they're involved and they actually have somebody behind their, that has their back. Inclusion creates confidence. Yeah, I think so. I think what creates confidence is for me in this industry, what creates confidence is there's a lot that can go wrong. And I think when you first get in, that sometimes you don't really know what could go wrong. Once you figure that out, then I think it maybe makes you a little more scared, but then you realize that it's been the same type of thing that could go wrong for so long that there's people out there and there's resources that can help you that have been through it. I remember going to my owner when I first started, and I'd go into him with an issue, and I didn't realize back then like that you could do whatever you need to do. Some people are always like, I don't know, you always figure stuff out and stuff. I'm like, I just go with like the most logical thing. I didn't realize back then. I thought there was restrictions on what you could and couldn't do. I mean, the driver's not waking up and this dispatcher says he's in the parking lot in his truck asleep. I've hired an Uber to go over, knock on his door and wake him up. You know what I mean? I've done stuff that just some crazy stuff that you do that you do to get it done. Cause I used to walk in my owner's office back in the day and have an issue and he'd go, well, have you done this? Like, well, no, I didn't know if I could do that. Well, yeah, just go do this. Just do that. It was like nothing to him, right? It was just figured out. Like you do this, you do that. So I've come up with some crazy things to just do things and get them handled. That's for sure. What's my favorite message to share with people to make their life better? Have a true golf game. Don't stack your team. I think that's key. Trey Griggs asked that. But make their life better. I be honest with you. I just always say, just don't stop. Don't stop moving forward. Don't give up. It sounds so cliche, but it's so true because it's not just not give up, but like always be aware of yourself. Like be aware of nowadays people they don't want to take ownership of what their faults are or what they could do that's better, right? They'd rather put a picture out on Facebook or a post about if they're having a bad marriage, a post about how good their marriage is or whatever to try to cover things up. It's just the easy way. Everyone wants the easy way out. I just wasn't raised that way. I wasn't raised that way. So, I mean, if you've got issues or you've got problems or things are difficult, just own it. Just own it. And don't try to cover it up or make yourself look better. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, man. Everybody's dealing with the same thing if you really think about it. So, as long as your intentions are to keep getting better, I tell my wife this all the time. She gets on herself about, being a mom. I think all moms do. And I'm like, look at the standard you're holding yourself to. I mean, you're holding yourself to such a high. You look around at like, some of our other friends or whatever it is. I mean, like you're on top of your game. You cannot beat yourself up. When you hold yourself to a super high standard and you miss, you're still end up higher than other people. So I think that's the key to a good life or a happy life is because there's no happiness without a mission to become better. What's the craziest thing I've done to get a load handled? Like I said, I brought in a plane. I've cross-docked a shipment at the office. I hired a forklift driver to come over and do that. What else have I done? There's been some crazy things. I can't think right now of anything off the top of my head, but there's always come up with plans. Switching drivers, switching trailers, all types of stuff. If I own this business, would I make this decision? That's a question you should always ask. I think that's okay. I like that. I think it's more like if I own this business, would I approve of the decision I'm about to make? I think that would be the biggest one because at the end of the day, if you mess it up, the owner may have to have a talk with you. How does your wife deal? This is a great question from Derek Crabtree here. How does your wife deal with the after-hour support you have to provide? My wife is getting used to it, but how can you separate? I feel like you can't. So that's a great question, and that's a huge issue. I've always talked about the fact that the most successful people in this industry have great support from their wives, their spouses, or their husbands, because it is, you just have to communicate. If you let them know just kind of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and that you've got a plan to get out ahead of it. I think one big thing you could do is work to have some structure around it. I would say one big thing I did, like going into a weekend on a Friday, I would always take the last hour or two. I mean, I just told my wife, like, I could stay till 7 on a Friday and then have a great weekend, or it could not, I need a little extra time on a Friday to make sure everything is wrapped up. I've made friends with Track and Trace. There was this one lady that just like purposely, we didn't assign loads or didn't assign counts to Track and Trace back then, but like she purposely would keep an eye on all of my loads. I'd buy her a Texas Roadhouse gift card or whatever. That's what she like, take her husband. I made friends with people, I made friends in billing. I made friends with, other people in dispatch, the drivers. I made sure that I had a structure together that could help take care of things, but I'd also just communicate. I got efficient at it, and I made sure I had my mind wrapped around everything that could go wrong and that was needed, and I had it available. So my laptop was up all the time where it needed to, away from everybody, so it wasn't a distraction, but I could jump on, hey, honey, I got to take this real quick. I got John. I told you he was on his way out to, Wisconsin. There could have been something that goes wrong. I got to take this call real quick, be right back in. You're just constantly communicating on what you're doing. And as you do it, Derek, I'll tell you, you'll just learn the majority of the situations that you end up having to deal with, and you'll start to filter them out and you start to get better at them. I think that's a huge thing. TJ, I give you a lot of crap, but I respect you and your commitment to getting it done. Thanks for doing what you do with integrity and intent. Tony, you're just BSing me right now. I know it, but thank you. How long does it take to build a sustainable book of business on average as a broker? Oh, that's a good question. It doesn't take long if that's your focus. I think for me, I've landed a lot of accounts, a lot of them. And there's only been so many that have really, really turned out good because, again, until you get yourself in a system in which you can scale, certain ones are just going to get more attention than others. And I think you always want to have your pipeline full. I know 2008 was one big time that I was able to land more just because the market was up. But I was also thinking, how many brokers are they going to prune after this, right, when the market goes down? Or 2018, I think that's what it said. And I just put a lot of effort into it. I got creative, super creative. But you got to build those relationships too, because your book of business is only as good as it is if it can go with you, if they're willing to work with you no matter what. So building those relationships from that standpoint helps build your reputation. But once you build your reputation, I think if you build it around a niche or a geographical location, I think that's the key. I've had many accounts that have landed, and then the guy took another job at a factory in the same city because he got a promotion, and then he sets me up there. So that's how you do it. It's kind of a snowball effect. Once you get yourself out there and get yourself going, kind of learn how to do it. You kind of get a niche on how to do it. How do you teach new starts in the industry about outside negatives? I'll be more specific on that. I'm not sure what you mean outside negatives. There's a lot of different ways I could go. Great question. I think it's good. I actually really want to touch on that, but it's a hard turn off. Hi, everyone. I'm so sad I missed this. Hi, Aaron. Hey, I could have a radio show. There's Derek Crabtree. Have you ever worked in cradle to grave broker environment? If so, what have you done to keep from burning out and keep your service level up? Great response on the wife question. That's how I started. So at Circle, we started cradle to grave model. I got loads, covered loads, had to land my own accounts. We didn't have a track and trace team. Kept myself from burning out by just getting help. One thing that was tough was like we had a draw with our commission. So I knew that I was scaling these customers, and I brought in a CSR to help set appointments, help with things. And then I was able to, although I had to pick up their salary on my draw as well, but it was able to take a step back to take a step forward. I think you get to a certain point in our company, at least we did, where then we realized, to be able to scale, there was no incentive for me to land accounts. I was landing accounts at that time. There was no incentive for me to give it to anybody else at all. And then for the company, they're thinking, okay, well, those aren't getting worked. How do we do this? And that's when we kind of started with the carrier sales and everything. But I think you're always continually making your process more efficient. Knowing when to take loads, when not to take loads. You really get down. Everything I did was spot bid, man. I had no contracted freight, and I was really pushing a lot of loads, a lot of GP. And the main thing I did was I knew when the big rippers were coming. I knew when they needed help. I knew when they didn't. I knew what time of day that the loads were coming. I mean, I had it timed out to all that type of stuff. I helped build a network. I brought people around me. to not get burned out, you just have to do that. I mean, you just have to have some support around you, within your business too, and able to help you here and there. But you find more efficiencies. That's why I've always been about being efficient, because that's all I've known how to do. Aaron asked what Cradle to Grave is. So Cradle to Grave is basically you have, you land an account, you work the account, you get the loads, you build the loads in the system, you cover the loads, you track the loads. I did it all, right? So I had to cover the load, I had to track the load, I had to update the load in the system, and then I even had to help build the load. So I had to make sure the POD was in there, make sure our billing person at the time, our billing department has 50 people, 60 people in it. At that time I had 2. Make sure they had the right paperwork and that they were taken care of. And there's a lot of ins and outs to it, but that's Cradle to Grave. You get to what they call Chicago model. Then you have a carrier sales team, an account management team. We have a sales team. We have an expedite team, track and trace team. Of course, our asset side. We've been able to actually, as our account managers, our team got bigger. We broke them into pods. So now you got pod leaders. So now whoever's overseeing the account managers then can have 5 pod leaders that they report to, or report to them rather than all that. But it's just a big scaling, a way to scale, a way to have every account work to its full potential rather than a Cradle to Grave model, which you're doing everything. Last one, ever dabble in expedite straight truck loads? Mostly what I do now, and I have better luck with that than TL. Hang on a second here. I lost it. At the same time, we get the contracts to add to it with the voluntary market right now. How do you even go about pricing bids? Yeah, we're huge on expedite. That's a huge part of our business. That's what we've always, in Fort Wayne office. Fort Wayne office has always been huge on expedites. That's all I used to do, man. Get on Selectus, throw it up, Sprinter van. I got all the DIMs. I know how to turn pallets if I have to. I know how to stack if I have to. I know, where you're going to find more small straights and sprinters, where you're going to find more large straights and small straights. I think it's a great thing to know, because then when you get into truckload and you get in with other businesses, they don't know. They tender stuff over. And they got full 53 dry van. I got 2 pallets, 2,500 pounds, and I'm telling them that, hey, I can save you about $2,000 here by throwing it in a Sprinter van. So that's something we've always done. We still have a huge expedite team, a lot of automotive business, and we do a lot there. So that's a great thing to know. Pricing bids right now, you got to have more than one resource right now. You cannot just go off a rate view. There's processes to go through. I have, pull up rate view as it's kind of a guide, but then go to search loads, see what things are posted at. I had somebody the other day this carrier just quoted me this much. And dude, the market's at this. I'm like, the market's not at that. They're like, well, rate view says 1,700. I'm like, that says 7 days out. That was 7 days ago. That's the closest you're going to get to it. I said, we just had a snowstorm. I go to search load, see what they're posted at. And they're all posted at 2,800. So that's what they're posting them at. That means they're not even going to cover with that. They're going to come at 34. Just go to search trucks, see where the trucks are at. Go into your TMS system. Run recent loads that you're buying for, see if there are losses or not. Ask around, ask drivers, ask carriers. You can really get a good idea where rates are at and how to price bids that way. I'll tell you right now, the expedites don't really change, except for the volume will go up in them, and the volume, and then the capacity that you'll have within at peak times when they know. I mean, these guys know how to work it. They're going to sit there and wait for certain things. So the rates may not be as much. You're going to have about the same margin, though. I mean, it's just a higher volume when it comes to that. Dang. No point having the guys back next week. Solo career's going well. Lead singer here. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out, man. So, all right, guys. Well, Derek, I appreciate it. I don't know if I met you yet, Derek. Good questions. Those are good things right there. That's why I like talking to Fred. I could do this all day long, but I kind of feel weird because it's just me. But I think the whole point, I like how everything kind of led back into what our topic was, and that was efficiency in motion. I've always said that. And Derek, you just touch on your point. That's kind of why I had to find a way for my wife to like what I do. I had to find a way for me to not burn out and to be there for my kids. I had to find a way. There's no way around it, but because I loved what I did. So I had a choice. I either did it the right way or I did it the wrong way and had to get out of logistics, or I did it the right way and it was able to do both. So I think that's the key. I think it's the key, the main point of the show. Do it the right way, and you'll be able to do what you love for a long time. You'll be able to build yourself a career. Do it the wrong way, and you're either going to burn out or you're going to get kicked out. So I think that's the best way to put it. Thanks, guys, for joining me. We had everybody else. I don't know what just happened. I'm pretty sure Mike may be in a coma. So I will update you guys tomorrow on LinkedIn with a post about his health. Talk to you.